John's Kitchen. John's Kitchen. Hey guys, we are in the kitchen, and today guys, actually we're gonna do something very fun today. That's right, on this episode of John's Kitchen, I'm gonna show you guys how to make White Castle sliders at home. That's right guys, the little tiny burgers you get at White Castle. I love those things, and honestly, when I lived in Chicago, that was definitely one of my most favorite guilty pleasures of all time. I mean, really, you cannot beat a White Castle slider late at night after a bar or whatever. I just love those little oniony burgers. Anyway, what we're gonna do in this episode here is I'm gonna show you guys how to make them at home. That's right, I figured out how to make them at home, and you know what? It's really simple. Really simple. You need a few ingredients. It doesn't take long at all, and these things are freaking awesome, and they're so good for like parties, and they're good as leftovers. Heat them up in a microwave. You cannot believe how great these things are. Anyway, I tell you what, let's just get to work. Let's go over here and I'll show you guys what you need, okay? And you don't need much at all, really, okay? So first things first, you need a pound of ground meat, okay? You can use ground beef or ground turkey. Here today we're gonna use ground turkey. I'm using 93% lean. You don't wanna get the breast, it's too dry. So get something that has at least 7% fat. Again, we're gonna use ground turkey. You need an onion, just a yellow onion, plain old onion. We're gonna saute this and use it as a topping. Because when you go to White Castle, you ever watch them make the burgers, by the way? They have like this flat iron grill, or flat stove, whatever it is, and they have all the meat and just like a ton of onions on it. So the flavor of White Castle is all about the onion. So you want lots of onion in this stuff. So you're gonna need this right here. This is onion soup mix or onion dip mix. Really inexpensive. It's a dry like soup mixture, and we're gonna add that to the meat. This is essential for the flavor, okay? Then you need some cheap hamburger dills, okay? These are horrible pickles, honestly. This is the kind of pickle you will never want to eat on its own, but they really add to the flavor. So just some cheapo hamburger dill chips, the cheaper the better. You'll need some cooking spray, and then you'll need little buns. Now this is actually the hardest thing to find, okay? When I lived in Chicago, because I actually did used to make this in Chicago too, I would find the Pepperidge Farm like dinner rolls, and they were much smaller than these. So since I moved to New England, I kind of had trouble finding these rolls, and this right here is about the best I've been able to find. This is just like a store brand dinner roll, and they're a little bit larger than the normal White Castles, but they will definitely work. I would stay away from the potato rolls, because you'll a lot of times see the little Hawaiian potato rolls that are real small. I would stay away from those. They're too sweet. So anyway, this is it. These are all the ingredients we need. Not a lot of stuff, and it's really simple. So anyway, why don't we just get to work? So the first thing we're gonna want to do is let's go over to the stove, and we need to preheat the oven to 450 degrees, okay? So 450 on the oven, and then we're gonna heat up our frying pan right here. And while the oven is heating, we're gonna go ahead and start sauteing our onions, okay? So heat that to 450. I'm gonna put my frying pan here on medium heat, and let's go over here and chop up the onion, because we're gonna saute that thing. And again, just a yellow onion, Vidalia, whatever. Just your run-of-the-mill onion. And we're gonna chop it up relatively fine. You don't want it to be too chunky, because when you go to White Castle, the onion parts are very small. And so we're gonna try to get them as small as possible here. And let's go ahead here and just clean up our onion. Get all this junk out of here. And honestly, these things really are so good. And I cannot stress enough how great of a leftover this is. You'll have these sliders in the fridge, and you're kind of hungry late at night. You pull them out, you wrap them in a paper towel, and you just microwave them for like 20, 30 seconds. And my God. It's White Castle. It tastes just like it. So anyway, all right, let's chop up our onion. And I do have that frying pan heating up, so I want to do this as fast as possible here. And again, I want to get the onion kind of I want my pieces to be relatively small here. And one onion is plenty. It might even be too much, but let's come in here, chop this up. How are my knife skills? Am I doing okay? So let's get this out of the way. Just chop up the onion real nice. Again, you don't want big chunks on here because the burgers are small and the onions need to be small too. And again, these onions right here is just a topping. Okay, we're not going to actually use this in the cooking process of the meat, which is what they do at White Castle. This is just going to be a topping with the pickle, and I think that looks pretty good. What do you think? Just kind of come in here and really just chop it all up. Okay, so let's take this to the stove and we're gonna throw it in our frying pan and just saute these really good. All right, that looks pretty good. And I'm gonna just take this over here and put it to the side. Let's get this piece of the onion that was in there. All right, that looks good. So let's go to the stove and saute these onions. Okay, our frying pan is relatively hot here. I have it on like 7. This is an electric stove, which I'm not crazy about. It took me a long time to get used to this thing, but 6 or 7 is actually pretty hot. So we're gonna put just a little bit of oil in here. And I'm just using canola oil. And we're also gonna add a little bit of butter too for flavor. But for now, we're just gonna saute this stuff in this canola. All right, so that should be pretty... The pan was pretty hot already, so I'm just gonna go ahead now and just put a little bit of onion in here. And there we go. Get a nice sizzling sound there. And so our objective here is just really to just fry these things up, get them nice and wilty. We don't want them to be crunchy in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so we're just gonna let this go for a few minutes and we'll check on it as it goes here. And if you want, you could throw a little bit of butter in there. It'll actually help it brown and then also give it a nice flavor. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter. All right, so we're gonna let that go. And while this is sauteing, we're gonna come over here and let's get our meat going. So, all right, so the meat mixture is pretty simple, okay? And all we're gonna do is take a pound of our ground turkey and mix it up with the onion soup, 1 package, okay? So let's take 1 package of the onion soup and put it right here. And then we're gonna take our meat and dump it in this bowl here. Just like so. And then let me grab a fork and we're gonna mix this all together. We wanna mix it really well with that meat, with this onion soup mix right here. And that's it. I mean, that's all we need for seasoning. No salt, no pepper. I mean, this soup mix is so salty already. And we're just gonna mix this really well. And again, you know, when you go to White Castle, man, that flavor of that burger, it's all about the onion. It's an oniony burger, and this soup mix here is gonna give us that flavor. So let's go ahead and mix this stuff really well. Keeping an eye on my onions while I'm doing this. Let's see. How are we looking there? So I'm gonna keep stirring this and then we'll go to the next steps. Okay, our meat mixture is nice and mixed. I actually just checked the onions. I turned up the heat a little bit because I want them to get brown. So you want to just keep cooking them till they're nice and brown. You don't want them to be translucent or white. You want a nice brown color, and that butter definitely helps. I'm gonna throw just a little bit more butter in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, so what you need is take a cookie sheet, okay? So you need a cookie sheet and some cooking spray, and spray your cookie sheet real nice with the cooking spray. Wash your hands, I've already washed mine, and we're gonna come in here with our meat mixture, and we're just gonna make like a giant like meat cookie on this cookie sheet, okay? And there's just, you know, I used to try doing this by rolling it with wax paper, and you know what? You just got to get your hands dirty and get in here and just smush this meat around. If you want to fill the entire cookie sheet with this meat, corner to corner, edge to edge. And you want it to be really thin because we're gonna cook this stuff really fast. So you want it nice and thin, fill the entire sheet, and just kind of push the meat around, and it'll go to the edges, and just sit here and work it and work it and work it. And it'll go all the way to the edges. Now this package I had, I think was over a pound. I think it was 20 ounces, so it was like 1.25 pounds. And you definitely need a little bit over a pound to fill the whole cookie sheet. All right. And what's gonna happen is, you know, this is gonna shrink up and you'll end up with less meat than what we're looking at after we do this. I'm keeping an eye on my onions over there. Don't want them to get burnt. I just want them to have a nice, pleasant brown color. This is kind of gross, guys, but you got to do it. just get your hands dirty and get in there. How's it looking? Just push that meat around. Edge to edge. Edge to edge. All right, I think we're doing all right here. So you can see that one package of turkey spread across this entire cookie sheet. Didn't seem like it at first, but if you just keep working it, it starts getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And you kind of want it to be as uniform as possible, and I think we're doing okay here. All right, that's good. So let me wash my hands, and then we'll throw this thing in the oven. All right, while I was washing my hands, I realized the onions were burning. Not good. So my onions are burnt. We cannot use this, so I'm gonna redo the onions. Luckily, we have some more onion in the fridge here. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop this, and I'm just gonna start over with the onion because we cannot have burnt onions on our sliders, so this is bad. So make sure you guys pay attention to the stove while you're doing other stuff, because I wasn't, and my hands were all full of turkey, and I couldn't get over here fast enough, and I burnt the darn onions. So I'm gonna remove them from this frying pan, chop up new onion, and get this going again. Whoops. Okay, I redid the onions, and they're going now. I turned the heat down a little bit. I probably used too much oil, but I just don't want them to burn again. I haven't put any butter in here yet. I'm probably gonna do that in a second, but the butter will definitely make them brown like really quick. But I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna throw just a little bit of butter, and I'm gonna turn my heat down. And I really need to watch this because I do not want to burn these again, and I don't have any more onions in the house. so definitely keep your eyes on the onions. All right, I'm gonna turn it down and just let this saute carefully over here. I'm gonna put it on about 3. Okay, so let's come over here. Actually, I'm gonna put the meat in the oven right now. So the oven has preheated. It's at 450 degrees. So let's go ahead and put our meat cookie sheet in here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this for 10 minutes. That's it, just 10 minutes. So I'm gonna set our timer to 10 minutes, and then we'll check it after 10 minutes. Okay, so while the meat is cooking, why don't we prepare our bread, okay? And again, I just bought the store brand dinner rolls, okay? Not the best choice really, but it was the best thing I could find today. These are a little too big, but they will work. I've used these before, okay? And what I want to do right now is I want to cut these in half. So let's pull them out, and they're all stuck together. So you could try cutting the whole thing at once. Zip. Let me just make sure they're not pre-cut. They're not, okay? So I guess we'll just break them apart and just kind of come in here and cut them in half. And be careful you don't cut your hand in half also. Just like so, okay? And we'll break them apart. So we got our sliders right there. Again, you know, that's really too much bread compared to a real White Castle. If you could find the Pepperidge Farm dinner rolls, that's what I used to use. And I cannot find those here in New England, but I know they used to have them in Chicago. But this is gonna have to do. So let's cut these all up. And you know, you could try the Hawaiian rolls. They're okay. They're definitely smaller. You know, they're potato rolls though, and I think they're just too sweet and wrong for this. You just want a very neutral bread flavor. Okay, so our bread is all cut in half, and we are now ready to put our meat in here, but our meat is still cooking. So let's come back here in about a few minutes. It looks like there's still 8 minutes left, and we'll check on the meat in the oven and then go from there. And I'm gonna keep an eye on those onions. All right, guys, the timer is about to go off. There's about 15 seconds left here, and I've been carefully sauteing the onions here, and you can see now they have a nice brown color to them, so they're pretty much ready to go. So let's check out our meat and let's see how it is. Sometimes I let it go a little bit longer if it doesn't look quite brown enough. And so the timer just went off, and you can see there, I don't like how it looks. I want it to be a little more brown. So I'm gonna let it go for a couple more minutes. So let's let this cook for 2 more minutes, so that'll be 12 minutes total, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna set the timer for 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, the timer just went off, so that's now 12 minutes total. And let's see if it looks any different. It's getting a little browner here. It's probably done. I think I'm gonna just go 1 more minute, just to be safe. I don't wanna eat any raw turkey. So let's put it back in, and I'm gonna set the timer now for 1 minute. So that's now 13 minutes total when it's done. Okay, the timer's about to go off here, and we're gonna stop right here at 13 minutes. It's definitely done. So let's go over here. I usually do it at 10 minutes, but it doesn't seem to be browning as much. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe this turkey's a little bit leaner. I have no idea. So we're gonna take a pizza cutter, okay, and we're gonna cut this into little squares, okay? And we wanna cut them into squares that will fit on our bun. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna kinda eyeball it. And we'll also just check out the meat. Yeah, it's totally cooked. So let's come in here and cut our squares. Right about here. And I'm just gonna taste the meat over here. Yeah, that's good. That's a good time, guys. All right, let's cut our squares. So it's a little thicker down here. Looks like I didn't like evenly spread it out, but that's okay. So some of ours are a little too small. Yeah, that's real good. So, all right, so here's our squares. Now we're gonna assemble our burgers. You know, it's a little rubbery, I have to say. I might have gone a little too long. But it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 minutes is how long you wanna cook it, and really just eyeball it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and we're gonna build our sliders. And a slider is gonna be a piece of meat. It's gonna be a teaspoon of onion. And our onions look really good. Look at that. They sauteed really nice. So we're gonna do a piece of meat, a teaspoon of onion, just kind of slather it on there, and then 2 of the hamburger dills, okay? And 1, 2, and then close it up, all right? That's our slider. That's it right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just build all of them. And yeah, some of them have some irregular shaped meat, but that's okay. Tastes just the same. So we'll put our onion on there. And boy, that's a big pickle. Well, we'll put 2, why not? Okay, and we're gonna build them on this piece of foil, and you'll see why in a second here. Some onion. Boy, some of these pickles are really big. I think it's better to buy the cheaper ones. Okay. So I'm gonna keep going here, and I'm just building them all the same. Piece of meat, teaspoon of onion, and then 2 pickles. Unless the pickle's really big. Look at that, those are giant pickles. So I'm gonna keep going and then we'll be right back. Okay, we have all of our sliders built here. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 on this sheet here and 4 on this one. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take some water, okay, some tap water, okay? And we're gonna drizzle water over the sliders, okay? And I'll show you why. And by the way, I lowered the heat of the oven to 300 degrees because the sliders are gonna go back in the oven, because when you go to White Castle, these buns have this wonderful kind of steam texture to them because they steam the buns on top of the meat and the onions. And so we want to kind of replicate that at home. And we're going to do that by putting them back in the oven and steaming them, okay? And I'm just going to take a little bit of water and just dump them over every one of these, okay? Just like so. Just dumping a teaspoon of water on top of every bun. Like that. Okay, and then we're gonna close it all up and then stick it in the oven and steam everything. Just like so. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these up. Okay, so we have the water on top of all of them. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna wrap these guys up like so. And you don't want it to go too tight, just kind of leave an opening so the steam can escape, okay? And we'll do the same over here. Now this side, I'm gonna have to add some foil to this. And like I said before, when these are leftovers and you microwave them, you kind of get that similar kind of steam thing going on with the bun. So let's wrap these all up. And we'll just kind of leave, just kind of loose, a little opening, not gonna hurt anything. We got the steam to escape. And then so now we're gonna put this back in the oven at 300 degrees, okay? And we're gonna just let it cook in there for about 10 minutes. And then we'll be ready to eat our sliders. So let's just put this in here. And of course you can make these ahead of time, you know, if you're gonna have a party, and then just kind of do this step here when everyone's over and you're ready to serve. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in there. And let's just let it go in there for about 10 minutes. And then we'll come back. And by the way, you guys can see that we used pretty much all of the meat. I was actually kind of snacking on it as I was putting them together, but the meat's pretty good, I have to say. So, all right, we're gonna let that steam and then we'll come back in 10 minutes. All right, guys, it's been 10 minutes here, so let's pull these guys out. And we don't wanna like bake them so they get kind of hard. We want them just to kind of have that steam kind of effect here. So, ow, so let me go ahead and pull this out. And let's pull our little one out right here. And that's it, guys. We are ready to enjoy ourselves some sliders. Are you excited? And yes, I am breaking my low-carb diet. These are so good, it's worth it. All right, let's come over here and check these guys out, all right? So here's our small one. Oh, yeah. Look at this. So I'm touching the buns here. They will sometimes stick to the foil because of the water, but look at that. See, the bread is kind of a little moist, which is what you want. Like that. Oh, yeah. That. It definitely has that kind of texture, which is what you want, that kind of almost gooey kind of in a way. So let's check these ones out too. Yeah. Look at that. Look how good that looks. So, all right, let's come over here and let's enjoy us some sliders. Oh yeah. Now listen, you can put cheese on it, okay? I'm not a cheese guy though. When it comes to White Castles, I don't think any cheese is needed, and nor should it be used. I think ketchup and that's it. So let's take a look here, and yes, that looks really good. So that was my album art right there. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's take a look at our work. Let's see. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. So we got our pickle, our onion, our roll is just kind of all moist and stuff from the water. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of ketchup on here. I love ketchup on these. I absolutely do. So let's check that out. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, let's try it. Let's see how we did. Did we do okay? You really get the whole effect here. You get the onion, the pickle, the kind of steamed bun. That tastes just like a White Castle. Oh yeah. It's spot on, guys. It is indeed a good time. That's good. That's really good. So, all right. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you guys liked it. And that is how you make White Castles at home. What'd you think? Was that good or what? Come on, I want you guys to try this. Tell me how it goes. So anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, I release new videos. Actually, you wanna do some viewer mail before we move on? Yeah, let's do a viewer mail. You know, if you guys wanna participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me. blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, you gotta put viewer mail, okay? The one here is from Jürgen in Germany. It says, "Dear John, I'm a huge fan of the show. I never miss an episode, and I've even watched many of your episodes 2 or 3 times. Great work. I really love it when you cook Italian food. Those are some of my favorite episodes. My question is this. Whenever I make pasta, it sticks together. I drain the pasta after boiling, and then it's all stuck together as it cools. What's the secret to making sure pasta doesn't stick together? Anyways, keep up the great work. A big fan from Germany, Jürgen." Well, Jürgen, I'll tell you what, you can do one of two things. So you're boiling your pasta and you're ready to drain it, okay? You need to have some olive oil on hand, okay? So you drain the pasta and you put a little bit of olive oil in there and you mix it all up, okay? And that will prevent the pasta from sticking to each other, okay? Or you drain it and you put your sauce in there right away. Just put I put a ladle of sauce in the pasta and I mix it all up, and that'll prevent it from sticking. And really, that's all you need to do. Don't drain it and let it sit there for 10 minutes before you're ready to serve it and before you put the sauce on. You have to either put olive oil on it or the sauce right away, right after you drain. And some people even will kind of parboil the pasta and then finish it in the sauce in a frying pan. I don't usually do that because I make my sauce in a big, pot. I don't make it in a frying pan. So usually I cook it all the way, al dente, and then throw the sauce over the noodles and mix it all up. And then when I serve it, we add more sauce on top on the plate. And that's pretty much it. So either olive oil or sauce right away after you drain. So anyway, all right, guys, that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. So if you want to keep up with the videos here on John's Kitchen, go ahead and click subscribe. And other than that, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Later, and bye. John's Kitchen.